Hey, it's Ted Carroll here, president of CUC, and I'm just having a Saturday, some time to myself, and so I wanted to share with you some self-care. Not just that, I'm going to talk about my journey, but I made myself some eggs after studying for the last couple hours, and I'm doing some family stuff later today, and going to hang out with a spiritual group later this evening. And so I just kind of wanted to share about balance today and what that looks like for me. I'm going to kind of walk around my house here and not show you much really, but just wanted to give you guys an idea of kind of what I am interested in and do. Like there's some music stuff behind me. I play a little guitar. I don't so much play that, but that was a cool find at a flea market in San Antonio. I play a little violin and anyway, this is my desk. You can tell there's some prep going on there for some research stuff, and that's my dissertation process stuff. I love books, as you can see behind me. There's some books. This is my I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna turn on another light here, but I have a little meditation station, is what I call it sometimes, or call it an altar, call it what you want. But it's really just a place where I can sit and meditate. And I do this almost every morning. It's down below my bookshelf in a window, so like it's very meditative to me. There's some things I burn sage and other things as a spiritual practice, meditation, and there's some uh, daily readers, is what some people refer to those as. In the corner there's some spiritual icons, if you will. There's some candles, and that just kind of helps me stay centered and focused. Um, but really, I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my journey. Uh, so let's see, I went back to school about 10 years ago and kind of coming in from a different life. I won't go into that, but some of you might be able to relate to having a different lifetime within the same lifetime, if you will. And anyway, so kind of almost exactly a decade ago, coming into this life, if you will. So anyway, I went back to school, actually got my bachelor's, went straight into the master's program at Capella. In the middle of all that, got a job a few years ago with Washington State as a social worker, quote unquote social worker, because I'm not licensed as a social worker. So it's called a social service specialist, is what it's called in Washington State. But basically, I do eligibility and case management for about 400 clients in my area here. And it's really more like case maintenance, as you can imagine. Case management is a different actions, when there's 400 people involved. So it's really just about meeting people where they're at, utilizing motivational interviewing. I'm actually a motivational interviewing coach at my job too, and so that's just kind of fun. That's just what I do 4 days a week, and then every Wednesday I do private counseling now, which is super exciting, and I love it. And now I'm doing the dissertation stuff, of course, and doing that thing. Anyway, I just wanted to share briefly about my self care journey, in the sense that I kind of came in from this different life. Meaning, and you guys can ask me questions. Feel free to give me a call. I've already talked with several of you about a little more personal stuff. I don't want to necessarily broadcast that on here, but one on one, I'm super open. So take this as an invitation to call me or email me or whatever you prefer. Texting is fine too. But it's just about relations. And again, just kind of this self care journey. I am trying to just, lead with a little bit of this stuff, and then I'll ask a couple other folks to, kind of post or write about their own self care journeys. So, I have a family of origin that is super loving. They did their best and they do a great job, and it's not about them today. You know what I mean? Every set of our parents do the best with what they have, I believe, and that's my story too. And so anyway, I got involved in kind of this different life I was talking about, and to me, it just got me really distracted, and I lost sight of priorities, and I pretty much lost myself in the process. And so, a number of different life circumstances brought me to a point of desperation, if you will. And again, that was just over a decade ago. And I kind of woke up from that, and I just had a great conversation with Anthony Murgatroyd on our committee here about kind of this spiritual awakening and what that is. For each of us who have a story, and really that's all of us, of course, whether we can relate to that sense of spiritual awakening or not. Either way, just wanted to kind of share that as I woke up from a state of darkness, if you will, or at least a state of being unaware, I became more and more aware. And that really fueled me toward my career now in every way, and really toward my personal endeavors too. I do quite a bit of volunteer work every week as well as on top of the other activities that I've mentioned so far, and spend a lot of time with my wife and my adult daughters, who are one's in California, one's here in Spokane Valley, Washington. And anyway, we have a great family relationship, and part of that is because we communicate and we really focus on communication, practice of communication, and that's absolutely true for my wife and I. We absolutely are committed to communication and growth together, and so it's super exciting. I'm super excited for her. She's about to open a cafe in town here that's more of a community center and a vocational center, and super yummy gluten-free food, celiac friendly, and that's part of our story as a couple and as a family that I won't go into right now. But just kind of saying that this is, I can't do it alone, nor do I want to. I've tried that, don't want to do that as far as life goes, as far as anything goes. So, part of my self care journey is having a huge support of people around me, starting with my family, definitely starting with my wife, daughters, and then family in general. And then close friends, of course, are, and that's kind of like a concentric circle, if you will. And then even so, a lot of people in the community, a lot of acquaintances that I've established, to be part of my network, if you will, both in a starting in a personal and then professional sense too, of course. And let's see, I make sure to eat several times a day. I find it better if I eat about 6 or 7 times a day, and healthy food, just less of it, or depending on what it is. And then exercise, I like to exercise at least 3 times a week. That's going pretty good. I do belong to a gym, although I find myself going there to soak and steam more than anything, just for self care reprieve. And that's really works for me too. I also do a lot of personal writing. I like to write poetry. I like to process that way. I, of course, write a ton for school and that kind of thing, work as well. But again, just kind of the personal and spiritual writing is what I call that. Uh, besides those spiritual practices, I also like to get out and hike and fish. My wife and I fly fish. I just love to do that stuff. Anything outdoors is awesome. We love to be by the water. There are a lot of lakes around here and rivers in Spokane, Washington. We're pretty close to the Idaho border, if you don't know, and not very far from the Canada border, really. So anyway, that's just a little bit right now. I just wanted to share. And oh yeah, thanks again for the support for the ACERVIC conference. That went really well. I had a great time presenting with Dr. Nunnery, as well as just being a part of that and definitely networking. I met a fellow CUC president, of chapter president out of Georgia, and that was awesome. And connecting with him and others has been an amazing experience. So I won't make this any longer, but again, thanks, and I hope you folks start sharing your self-care journeys and what self-care means to you, and maybe how far you've come in certain or specific ways as the weeks go on here. So that being said, happy quarter, and I hope you have an awesome day. All right, bye.